I probably look a little silly right now, but it's okay because I'm warm. It's actually not insanely cold. It's just that I'm a bit of a wimp. I don't know if it's like living in California or what, but I get cold so easily. Even though I grew up with this, it's really, really pretty today. It's like foggy, it's a little drizzly. My sinuses have been kind of stuffed up because I've been eating gluten, which is a bit crazy. First of all, I've been sensitive to gluten and barely have eaten it for the past 10 years. So my system's not used to it at all. But I have been doing a low carb vegan keto diet for months up until I went to Greece. And I was like determined at first to stick to it. And I did all this research to figure out like how to eat vegan and keto in Greece. And then like, I think the second day, maybe third, well actually the very first meal I had in Greece had gluten. I was just so hungry and cranky and tired, and I'm like, I don't care, this looks really good. It was really amazing. Do not regret eating that. And it actually didn't really upset my stomach or my system that much. And then I think I was trying to stick to it for like the next couple days, but the food there in Greece was so incredible that I just didn't want to miss out on it. It was like a fear of missing out thing. So I, anyways, ate it there. And it's so fascinating. Actually, while I was in Greece, I was listening to a really good podcast interview and talking about like the addictive properties of gluten and sugar, carbs, all that. And it's so true because I'm just hooked on them. But my willpower is still really strong. So I basically decided that I'm just gonna like let myself splurge until I leave in a couple days. And then I'm gonna wean myself back onto the keto diet because I actually felt amazing. And I feel such a huge difference being off of it. Like I feel my nose has been stuffy every day, which I have not had in a long time. And I've just like felt kind of irritable, although that could be like a number of other factors from being out here. And I have felt, this is kind of bothering me. I had my like hoodie up over my ears, but I can't, oh, that's so much better. I couldn't hear like all the amazing sounds. I don't know if it gets picked up on camera, but I'll finish talking and then I'll make some more silence. Oh my gosh. It's kind of nuts. I have barely spent any time outside except for like going to the store and going to Boston the other day. I haven't spent any time out here. And this is like one of the warmer days we've had. Even though there's still snow on the ground, it's melting. It's probably like 40 degrees or something. It's all relative. One of the days I was here was like 9 degrees. Anyways, I know I keep changing the subject here. Just look at how pretty this is. These little raindrops. That's where I grew up. Anyways, okay, so back to the keto thing. In addition to feeling sniffly, my body is also, I feel like I've gained so much weight. I probably haven't, my guess would be maybe 5 pounds, but it kind of is frustrating because I had lost like 17 or 18 pounds on doing keto for 3 months, and I know it sounds really drastic, but I would like to lose like a total of maybe 25 or 30, 25 or 30. Which seems really extreme, but you know, fat comes off your body, weight comes off your body in places that you don't even notice that it's there. I I knew that I needed to lose weight earlier this year. I remember very distinctly taking, whoa, almost walked into this little, you see that string? That's like a little spider web. Whoa, that is crazy. I was taking a walk in Los Angeles and I could feel my back fat, like rolls on my back, and I was like, what's going on? I don't think I'd ever felt that before. And it was like when I would wear certain clothes, it would like push the skin together in a very uncomfortable fashion. So I'd be like walking and I could like feel my back. It was really, really uncomfortable for me because I don't think I'd ever experienced that or noticed it before. I was like, uh-oh. And I was working out a lot and I thought I was eating okay, but the changes just weren't happening. And keto made such a drastic difference for me. And part of my point is I didn't think I wanted to lose 18 pounds. I didn't really have a number in mind because I never really weighed myself, but I started weighing myself so I could track my progress, and 18 pounds came off pretty fast and felt like very sustainable. I felt amazing and I felt so disciplined. And it's just amazing how, like, after a few weeks of not eating that way, I don't feel good and I feel like I've gained weight. I don't know because I don't have a scale at my parents' house. So I'll weigh myself when I get home just to see what happened. Maybe I haven't gained weight. Maybe I just physically don't feel good. I definitely don't feel good eating gluten. And I can tell that big time, especially eating gluten in the States. When I was eating in Greece, I didn't feel nearly as sick. I barely felt a difference, and it would take a much longer time for me to feel it. Whereas here, I'll like feel sniffly, sneezy almost right away. And then I wake up every morning feeling this way. I also have been eating a little bit of almonds. That could possibly be part of it. I've been eating all sorts of random shit, all sorts of processed foods and sugars, and like, I just kind of got into this mindset of like, oh, whatever, I'm on vacation. Like, I'm already not doing keto. And this is the problem with me. And the big benefit to keto for me is that I have low, like, I wouldn't say I have low willpower, because my willpower can be very, very strong. It's so beautiful here right now. I can't even believe this. But I tend to like go to extremes. I lean towards binging. You know, I struggled with bulimia when I was in college, and I think that's just always been part of me, is the binging side of it. I just haven't purged since I was that age, but I do have a tendency to just overdo it, and my willpower is a lot stronger now. Keto taught me so much, and it showed me so many benefits, but I haven't bought all these like keto foods like cauliflower and broccoli and asparagus and cucumber days ago, and I have not touched any of them. I've been like making semi-keto friendly dishes, but then like I'll have an English muffin, or what else have I had? I've had some pie. I've had some like, I'm trying to think what else, just random snacks like corn chips, and corn doesn't make me feel good. Anyways, that's all for now. Back to like the weight loss thing. You know, I'm not a big fan of numbers, weighing yourself and trying to be a certain number. I used to be like that, and that was really detrimental for me, and I think it's not good for most of us. But I do look back on photos of myself when I was a certain weight, and like, I really like the way that I looked then and like the way that I felt. I haven't reached that number in a long time, so I kind of like want to challenge myself to get back there if it feels right, but not push myself too hard, if that makes sense. Like, I have to find that balance and see if it's something sustainable. I don't know why I put on weight. Like, that's something I'm really trying to examine. I think being keto has, look at this cute little stream that's formed here on the path. Going keto showed me how much better I feel when I don't eat a lot of sugar, processed foods, carbs, and all that. I think those foods really weigh my energy down and cause all these physical effects, and then cause me to feel very bloated. And I don't know if that's where like water retention comes from. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. Everybody has such extreme opinions on diet, and it's like, I just want to figure out what works for me, what makes me feel my best. And what I can tell you is I don't feel my best right now. I also really miss going to my yoga studio, so I'm excited to go back to that. I haven't even taken a walk like this. I walked a lot in Greece, but I was just like doing touristy stuff and just naturally would walk. But since I've been back in my parents' house, this is like the most I've walked aside from that day in Boston. So I'm sure that has contributed to me not feeling so great. What else? I felt really irritable right before I took this walk. My nose is really itchy. I really struggle with the dynamic with my mom. It's just like, it's really tough. And I think part of me is like trying to push it away because it's probably even more painful than I consciously realize. I really wish I had a tissue right now. I'm so sniffly. Nope, no tissues. Wait, let me check my other pockets. My sister too, she already went back to her place in New York. And, oh wait, oh, a tissue. Oh, thank goodness. So, my sister, I think, represses things more than me. I don't think she's ever done any type of therapy. You know, she doesn't seem to be nearly as self-reflective unless it's all very private. And I just worry for her. She seems really stressed and like, I think like she takes things, she tries to be very strong when it comes to my mom, but I wonder if like she's just pushing it all further down. It's uncomfortable to talk about sometimes, so I'm probably not gonna say much more. But I think, as I was saying in the other video, yes, the one that I posted before this one from Boston, it's very confusing, you know, when you are going through family dynamics or just any sort of situation that you're in. How else can you see it? You have your own biases, your own experiences, your own perspective. So there's a lot about family relationships that we cannot understand. That's why it's helpful to journal and meditate and go to therapy and talk to friends. But even friends have so many biases, you know? Like, my best friend from childhood is so opinionated about my mom. But like, that's built up over years and years and years of her own perspectives and resentments. And it's like, I don't know if I can trust that, because she's seeing my mom through this lens that she probably looked at her from in high school, right? And, you know, you just have, I think, again, that's why therapy is so helpful. And I don't feel like a super strong desire to go back to therapy, partially because the last therapist I saw, which I think was last year or the year before, like, was no good. And it was so frustrating when you go to somebody and you're like, ugh, they're not that good. They're not helping. They're not what I'm looking for. I don't feel like this is what I need. So it's like that hunt, trying to find the right person. I don't know. Sometimes I just think I have all the answers. Like, meaning all the answers are usually within us, and that's why things like meditation are super helpful. So definitely feels good to be out here. I need to develop a strong meditation practice. And for whatever reason, it's something I keep delaying, procrastinating, but it'll probably be a big part of my New Year's resolutions. I ordered this really cool planner to help me set up 2019 for success. And I've been wanting to get a planner for a long time, but none of them have felt quite right. I'm very particular. And then like my favorite business trainer launched one. And I was like, that's the one. So I ordered it. It's gonna arrive sometime in December. So excited. I think I might sit down for a minute. I don't know how wet this rock is. Let's see. I like having this new iPhone because the quality is so good. And I feel re-inspired to make videos like this. I do have a separate camera that I got for things like vlogging, and I have not felt like editing. I feel very overwhelmed by it. But one day, I'm gonna feel like it. I'm gonna get in the flow, post a ton of videos. There's a couple these brands that gave me products are waiting for. And I don't know, I just like, going to Greece felt exhausting. This isn't very comfortable. Going to Greece, I felt like took a lot out of me. And then being home with my family, and I've been doing this big Black Friday weekend sale that ends tomorrow. Oh my gosh. When I was growing up, this is one of my favorite things. I would come out to these trails, which loop around outside my parents' house, and I would be so excited when there are streams like this. Like, I would just come out here by myself, just like I am right now, and hang out here for what felt like an eternity. I think I would like fantasize about things and like have my own little world here. As you can see, I have not seen a single person. I don't know if you can find a place like this in LA. Maybe you can, but it is very, very rare. It's all called conservation land. And pretty safe here. I know, unfortunately, a few years ago, I think it was 2016, my mom told me about like this girl that was running in either at the woods or a field out not too far from here that was killed. One of those like horrific stories. And ever since, she's like, at the time actually, she was like super nervous about me going out by myself. And it's true, honestly, like, somebody could follow you, or you just run into somebody and there's no one around. I mean, if I screamed right now, this is so morbid, nobody would hear me. Maybe somebody would hear you, but they probably wouldn't think anything of it. In fact, when I was here, sometime on one of my other trips here this year, my sister and I went for a walk, and I was like, something scared me and I screamed really loud. Actually it happened a few times on the same walk that we were taking. And like, there were houses so much closer than where they are compared to where I'm at right now. And you know, I like screamed at one point at the top of my lungs. And it's not like somebody comes rushing out to see what's going on. Like, they just ignore it. They think that's just kids, or I don't know. Like, that's the thing. It's kind of sad when you think about things like that. You know, as a teenager and as like a younger kid, I would come out here and play by myself all the time or with my friends. You know, I grew up in a really safe town, and like for example, one of the big things that just happened in this town recently was like some mail carrier stole some credit cards from the mailboxes in town. Like, that's like the scandal. That's like the only one I've heard of in years. You know, like, I don't know if there's ever been anything big that's happened here in my entire life. So I feel very blessed and safe, but you know, sadly these days you never know. I don't think you ever have. Things could happen at any point, anywhere, to anyone. But I think like our paranoia and awareness of those things has grown a lot, and the media just like puts it in our face so much. My mom's obsessed with macabre, morbid stories. Like, almost every day she reads the news and then wants to share with the family some horrendous, horrible story that's happened. And she just like finds this deep, weird, twisted pleasure in recounting horrible things. And it's very fascinating to, I think like that's like her outlet. Like, that's like her way of looking at the world, is like at all the horrible things that can happen to people. And I think she just lives in a lot of fear and judgment, and I don't know. It is odd how clearly we're very fascinated by stuff like that. I get fascinated. Like, the things that fascinate me the most are like 9/11, incredibly fascinating to me. Like, I could watch so many documentaries on that and just want to learn what happened and why it happened. And probably because there's no answer, or like a true answer, is there? Maybe, but we all have our different perspectives on what happened there, and those stories are really fascinating. Also, like big plane crashes that are mysteries, those things, every once in a while I'll get really drawn in, and I'll want to read all about them and track them, mainly because I'm just like curious. And I think that's probably what my mom feels, but hers is like much more severe because she reads this stuff all the time, and I don't know, not something I can relate to, and that's in the same sense as her. So I've been thinking a lot about how I want to proceed with my work in 2019 and beyond. You know, I passed that 10-year mark with Eco Vegan Gal, and there's just a lot that I've been reflecting on, because I know I want to change a lot of how I've been doing things and what I've been doing. So maybe I will be exploring that in these videos. These videos are very therapeutic for me, and there's just so much on my heart, in my head, that I've been afraid to share, and it's nothing like specific. It's just that I find myself holding back a lot. And as I said in the last video, I feel called to be braver and more vulnerable, because I feel like there are things within me that I haven't even discovered. Sure, the same is true of most people. We hold back so much out of fear and just doubt, a lot of doubt, a lot of unworthiness and not feeling good enough. Trying to do the things that we think are gonna work, or the ways that we think they should be. And I think it's really tough depending on how you're raised. But then again, I just feel like so many people struggle with that. So maybe by sharing more about my journey with it, it'll help you with your journey, because I'm sure you can relate to that in one way or another. And that motivates me, as like, if I can be an example and inspire other people and do something brave that helps other people be brave, then I guess it's worth doing. I'm gonna be quiet for the last few minutes, or maybe the next few minutes, I don't know. I never know when these videos are gonna end. I'm gonna take some time to be quiet so that we can all take in all the sounds. Okay, I'm gonna go and soak this in without my phone on. Until next time.